Our guest this week, rapper Sir Jalen Charles. We've got a very special show for you folks. Let's go. Hey there, friends. This is Kevin McManus, the host and producer of a very special show, the All New Arts Podcast. I know this quarantine is starting to wear me down a bit, so I'm sure a lot of you are feeling the same. It's a strange time, and it seems that we've still got a ways to go. While the Zoom gatherings and the quarantine cabarets have helped, I've still been feeling a little bit tense. And then, this Sunday, in the early morning, I found something. I'm going to tell you a little story. Rebecca and I, back in November of 2019, bought a small Christmas tree. We decided to have a real one this year. It was a noble fir with big, fat, bushy branches. And after the holiday season, we decided to just put the tree on the patio with the water basin all. And that tree, believe it or not, is still fresh and green and still appears to be alive. It's April, and that noble tree is still fresh and green. But that's not the special part of the story, really. We found that a bird has made its nest and laid its eggs on one of the boughs of that tree on Sunday morning. Maybe it's just the fact that we've been locked in our house for weeks on end, but we thought that was pretty special. It uplifted us, and the thought of leaving this virus behind and returning to regular living at the same time that those little baby birds would be bursting out of their eggs seemed magical to us. So we wanted to share that story with you. This tiny little being gave us a gift by creating its home near us, and we feel special. And it doesn't really need to make any sense. So we're encouraging people to find small things, create small opportunities for yourself to feel special, unique, important, loved, happy. So, in any case, I've got a special show for you today, and a podcasting we will go. Please welcome our very special guest, Sir Jalen Charles.
All right. Jalen, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's really nice to have you on the show.
I'm glad to be on the show, man.
So, full disclosure, Jalen and I have worked together plenty of times. A few years ago, I got to work with him on Shrek the Musical, and he played the donkey. I got to direct that show. And then last year we did As You Like It, the Shakespeare show, and he played Orlando, and I got to direct it again. And now here we are. We're going to go ahead and do a podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've got a few questions for Sir Jalen Charles. He is also a rapper on top of being an actor and everything else. He's multi-talented. So we've got a few things that we definitely want to ask him. So I'm going to start out. First of all, what do you define your art as? What do you do?
What do I do? I would say I like to just show my creative expression through just different life experiences and through different, forms of art. Like I make, for example, like you were talking about, I make rap music. And rapping is something I've been doing since I would say I was about 10 years old. Just making like little songs here and there. I draw it off of like real things that I've experienced, good and bad. And then with the theater aspect as well, I got into that a little bit later on in life, but I feel like they kind of go hand in hand almost.
So
Yeah.
which one would you say that you prefer? I'm having you on as Sir Jalen Charles. We're going to feature your music, but would you say that you have any one of them that you prefer, or do you love doing them all in their own time?
Oh man, I like doing both of them, but I would say I've had a lot more opportunities to do the theater aspect. So I think I lean toward, it's hard, coming from someone who does shows and directs them, it's hard to do anything else when you're in the show, right? I majored in theater over at St. Martin's University, and ever since then, well, since high school up to St. Martin's, I've kind of caught the bug, and I've been in 10 shows, and I don't even know how many roles. Sometimes I play multiple roles in the show, you know how it goes. But I would say I lean more into the theater aspect of myself, but I think that translates in my music as well. Like I'm always talking about theater, my family, being dramatic, things like that in my music. So I definitely tap into it. I see making rap music as pretty much monologuing. like a rap song is a monologue in my eyes.
Okay, so in this season of the podcast, we are exploring the struggles that artists face in their daily creative lives. What kinds of struggles do you face?
You got to look at it in two spectrums with me because I am a young black man. Like you have that kind of experience where, for example, say in theater, you may not get the roles that you want, or say I audition for a role and I know I audition well, but they come back to me and say that I didn't fit the criteria of the character. I kind of see that as being like, oh, well, you just didn't choose me because I'm black, at least in my eyes. I know that's not always the case, but also in theater, what I notice in theater quite often is that you don't have a lot of black people that want to do the shows and whatnot. And I think it's because of like, the content of what most companies pick. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've played like a Russian or a German, but I've never played like an African or a black male on the show. Like,
Right.
it's really funny. Like I played Astrov and Uncle Vanya. I am not Russian. I don't even have a mustache. Like you see this all right here. That's all I have. So,
Right.
and it doesn't even connect. And so, and that's almost 26 years of growth. And so, I think there's that spectrum. But I think another part is like, building up a fan base. And it really like you start building your fan base through like, you can do shows and things like that, but like you really start building your fan base from the people who you hold near and dear. And sometimes they're not the quickest to support.
Like friends and family, you mean?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times like friends, family, people I've known from the past have come up to me, like say I'm at a random bar and they're just like, dude, I love your music. I love everything that you do. But they don't really like, add any money to the pool, or they don't share the music or anything like that. And so I think getting over that arch and like, making your own fan base outside of that is like the hardest thing, but it's also the most endearing thing. It's like the thing that makes it all worth it. I thought it was really cool the first time I heard my music when it wasn't like me bumping in the car with my friends. I was actually in a weed shop and they were playing my song on like Spotify, and I was like, "That's me." They're like, "That can't be you." And then looked the picture like, "Oh my God, it is you!" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it is. Can I have my weed now?" But yeah, I think that aspect, like, as far as theater, like, being a black man in theater, I think is tough. But being a black man in general is just tough. In theater, sometimes you don't always get the role that you want. And more often than not, at least from my experience, you're playing the romantic lead or you're playing the person who's kind of the fool, which I don't really, like, I find myself as a comedic actor in a way. I don't really mind that. But that's kind of like what I've been hearing from, like, my other black friends in theater. And then, yeah, the whole music thing is just like, getting people to like your stuff.
So when you what you're talking about proving the value, do you think that's a common issue for artists in general, like proving value to your family and your friends?
Oh, I think that's a common issue. Like story time. So when my first musical I ever did was Into the Woods, which is Sondheim. If you guys know Sondheim, he's an asshole with all the things he does with his music. And for that to be my first musical was not easy. But when I got I got cast as Cinderella's Prince and the Wolf. And I went back to my mom and I was like, "Oh, Mom, I got cast to be in Into the Woods." She goes, "Oh, what's that?" I was like, "Oh, it's a musical." And she was like, "Boy, you can't sing." And so like I never really sang. She's probably gonna hear that she's gonna be like, "Oh my God, this story again." But like she's never really heard me sing before. And so the whole entire time leading up to it, she was like, "Are you sure it's gonna be good? I don't want to be up there going. I want to be over there and being embarrassed and everything." But then she went and saw me. She was like, "Oh my God, he can sing." And I was like, "Mom, I've been really grinding, working hard." And you know me, directing me and doing Donkey. I don't usually do musicals, but like
Right.
there's certain roles that I want to do, and so it just takes a lot of practice and whatnot. But there's that portion, and then with the whole music thing, it's like I think anybody who has a laptop and a microphone can make music. I mean, like you have to work on it and grind and build up that talent, but there's just so much content out there. Like you have a Tidal, Spotify, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, and I'm sure there's other like different mediums where to find music. But I think the reason why people are just like, "Do you really rap though?" is because there's just so much out there, and like anybody can be a rapper, anybody can go big.
On the other subject, on the other struggle that you go through, and this is it's a tough one for, like you said, every person of color faces some sort of prejudice or some sort of, whether it's known or unknown. What would you like to share? Like, let's say you were presenting your art to a person and you sensed a prejudice in that person. What would you like to share with that person to try to earn, maybe not earn, that's a terrible term, because it's not your job to earn their trust or their admiration, but what would you say to them to enlighten them? How would you bring them to the light and show them the value of the brown performer?
That's a good
Not
question.
that you have to answer for all the prejudice in the world, but go ahead and answer for it.
Point blank, what I would tell them, and this is gonna sound probably not the best, but like I'm gonna just take a swing for it. I would tell that person, Black people are cool, right? People. I mean, you dating back from slavery. I'm not even going to slavery. I'm gonna talk about Elvis. Elvis knew that we were cool, right? Elvis stole music from Black people to up his career. He didn't pay for the rights or anything like that. And so white people have known that we've been cool for years. They know that we have rhythm, we have artistic sensibilities that just tap into our roots. So I would be like, if you don't invest in Black creators, you're just dumb.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and play our first track here. It's called "Eating Cereal." How did this come about? What was going on in your life when you wrote these lyrics and created the song?
This song was a fun one. I think, to be honest, when I made this song, it's a fun and upbeat, happy song. But I think I was in a place where I was kind of sad and getting frustrated with people not necessarily hearing my music. It's one of my songs off of my EP, So It Begins, that dropped last year. No, 2 years ago. Dang. Added in a lot of my experiences, with my family. I hold my family near and dear. I referenced my father a lot, who passed away when I was 14, but in a prideful way. And then you'll also see that I added in a lot of bars about theater and my experiences with that and whatnot. And so I think this one was I call this one my money making track. It's one of my favorite tracks off the EP.
Here we go. We're gonna let it play.
Yeah. I looked around and made a hit. Yeah. Son of Jamie, please don't take me as a fool. Son of Jumba, ballin' out is how we do. Aries, baby, please don't put me in the mood. Everything I say like Teddy Boy, true. The pen is mightier than the sword. Go figure. If that's so, Mr. Pen's about to pull the trigger on the people who think they doing numbers. I do this shit so casually, for part of me, I'll take the summer. Flow supersonic, didn't mean to steal your thunder. Best kept secrets, answer Donna's Graham's mother. Never indecisive questions for the come up. I live to play, I play to live, I'm never gonna grow up. Oh no, there goes Mr. Braggadocio. Now he run the show, yeah, this nigga for real. So why you frontin' on the P like my first and for real? Took too many L's just to give up and fail. Tell these females playing with cards, you know the deal. Never giving up on my dreams, but you can click them hills. I got the key, like my best friend is Peel. I'ma get my mama con that bitch, I'm really the real. Son of Jamie, please don't take me as a fool. Son of Jumba, ballin' out is how we do. Aries, baby, please don't put me in the mood. Everything I say is steady, boy, true. You think you do, but you can't do it like I do. Making moves in shiny suits, beat by new. I'm too good for these chickens, fly my cool. I swear my attitude higher than highest altitudes. Demon Baba, my cuts are making you scalpable. Got my heart in there, Jumbo would say I'm proud of you. 300 pounds, you never hear what I can't do. Everything is everything and everything I plan to do. Wear so many hats, you think I'm hiding, you know who. I'm a rapper, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a teacher, I'm an asshole. Fuck this shit, is getting endless. I'm just trying to stack more commas than that last sentence. We bring the ruckus, you bring us nothing. My style overhead like rubbers, no one above us. Super badges like McLovin, I need my focus. Can't tell me nothing. You niggas complex at a best, a bunch of motherfuckers. Yeah, use a bunch of motherfuckers. Yeah, use a bunch of motherfuckers. I wrote this shit eating cereal.
Okay, that was Eatin' Cereal by Sir Jalen Charles. So you're creating on all these fronts on so many mediums. What is compelling you to do this?
I have a problem sitting still, but also like really, this whole coronavirus thing is actually driving me crazy. Like you know me, I'm always bouncing all over the walls and like doing something. But for me to create in those avenues, I think well, let's go for writing, for example. Like my mom was an English major. I was an English major. It kind of just rubbed off on me. I've always been writing stories and coming up with skits and doing different things like that. And I think it honestly, it really just makes me happy, but also keeps me busy and out of trouble.
No doubt.
To keep it plain and simple, like it's just things I really enjoy doing. But like also in that song, I think the bar goes, I'm a actor, I'm a rapper, I'm an artist, I'm a teacher, I'm an asshole. This shit is getting endless. I'm just trying to stack more commas than that last sentence. I just know that these are things that I'm good at, and I think I can make money in it.
So that's one of the things that I want to actually skip forward to. A lot of people are putting out these hashtags, pay the artists, fund the arts. They're pretty common to see these days. What is your experience with the financial side of rapping and getting paid for your creative work? I know it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone, but like it's an obstacle that I think that somehow we've got to overcome, because it goes along the lines of that valuing of the art. It's not just friends and family. People in general, even the people who love the art, who see the value of it, are not necessarily giving it the financial value that, it really deserves. What is your experience with that?
Man, everything, honestly, everything you just said. As far as rapping goes, getting paid for rapping, especially like, where I'm at in my stage, which people would still see it as like a beginner, it's tough. Like you have to like literally like go on tour to make up money, but also you have to like grind so hard that your streams are up. Like on Spotify, I don't know the percentage of it, but for every stream I think you get some sort of money.
It's called like a CPM, right?
Yeah, CPM. But you really have to grind at it, especially with the streaming culture. I mean, people used to hand out CDs and things like that, but like you don't even see CDs in people's cars anymore. The last time I seen somebody handing out a mixtape was I was at a Mac Miller concert, and it was actually my homeboy New who made the beat for Eatin' Cereal. Shout out to New. You really have to grind, but that's one way of grinding too. Like people you just really have to be on somebody's radar in the whole in the whole rapping thing. Now, acting, whew, a lot of at least out here, you have a lot of community theater, but like for doing shows like the Harlequin, like what's the term I'm looking for? It's
contract.
Yeah, kind of like a contracted actor, or doing things behind the scenes. Like I've never gotten paid for an acting gig, but I've gotten paid for doing stage management.
Yeah, tech theater, people in the tech side they end up making quite a bit more money if they can break into it, and it takes a special kind of person.
Yeah, and they should make money, man. Like shouts out to everybody I've worked with under stage management, Chad, Gina, everybody. Like it's tough.
Chad Carpenter, Gina Salerno, he's talking about. These are all local Olympia kind of celebrity technicians of theater.
Man, I've learned so much from them. If you want to become a good actor, become a stage manager or work in any other realm, like behind the scenes in theater, because you'll learn a lot.
Because we're going to start playing another track here in a moment. I just wanted to hear what a working day in the booth looks like for you.
Man, a working day in the booth. I do a lot of takes when I do rap songs. I'm pretty. You worked with me as an actor, I'm a perfectionist. I want to get things down to the T. And so I work at a couple of different studios. I work at my brother's studios at Couch Surfers United. Shouts out to Couch Surfers. They're downtown Tacoma on Pacific, and I work with them pretty often. And it's honestly kind of just like being locked in. You just kind of have to be locked in the moment, and then also take direction. Like an artist who does not know how to take direction is not going to be successful. A lot of people say that they did it by themselves or they did it dolly. Dolly is like doing it by yourself. I don't believe them. You have to have a good engineer with a good vision, and you have to be able to kind of like, separate yourself and be able to take criticism. That's a very important thing as an actor and especially as a rapper, because you are not always right. But I record with Couch Surfers in Tacoma. I also record with my homeboy Ricardo. Shouts out Ricardo and Burian. I've been working with Ricardo a majority of the time. He's a good friend of mine from college. Yes, honestly, just kind of being locked in, doing a bunch of different takes and messing around with your vocals. You kind of have to be a ventriloquist when you rap, be able to throw your voice in a bunch of different areas. I think one of the best at that is Kendrick Lamar. I don't even know how much time he spends in the studio, but I bet he pretty much sleeps there.
Where'd you record this next track, Guinevere?
Guinevere recorded at my in Studio Siete in Beringen at my homeboy Ricardo studio.
All right, Guinevere, here we go. Listen to Sir Jalen Charles.
Looky here, hey. Looky here, hey. Guinevere, back. Yeah. Look at you, look at me, look at us, baby, line them up. We some killers, line them up. Why you in a rut? Crush a bud, let's get stuck when I'm in a rut. You my only pick me up, hey. When I'm with my baby, don't be texting, don't be calling in a body like it's out of body. Blasting out Team Rocket, she ain't pressing me for Skrilla. She ain't worried about my pocket, she the type to hide your wallet. This is your baby, I got it, and I know you do. Cause you ain't one of those bougie hoes, Miss Independent, she got her own, she my neo soul. Usually my dress code is no dress code, but that dress goes, yeah, you know you cold. Jack, don't let go, hit them rose gold. What's a snack? You a feast that I wanna eat slow. I'm a beast in these streets, treat that pussy like a rose. Petals on the floor with the royal treatment like I keep my kingdom. Ain't shit without us quick. Look at you, look at me, look at us, baby, line them up. We some killers, line them up. Why you in a rush? Crush a bud, let's get stuck when I'm in a rush. You my only pick me up. Hey, niggas hella thirsty in the summer, grab a picture. Fall in love with pictures, put the app and sap like Tinder. Rushing into love, she don't like you, you don't like her, but you looking for any type of warmth to get through winter. People fall in love for wrong reasons. Fair weather lovers, we the type of love that transcends seasons. Trees change color and I still ain't leaving. Trees change color and I still ain't leaving. Know some niggas in your corner creeping. Some bitches in mine wanna slide like a TM. We butt heads like Beavis, but in the end we give our no piece of mind, because the kingdom we built is too important for slipping. Life with you is we're living. Know what that in my vision. Falling hard's my condition. I never go through the motions. I see you when I know it. That our future will flourish. That our future will flourish. That our future will flourish. Love is scary. I'm embracing all my fears. Seen so many people fall in and out of love this year. Built a kingdom, power, couple people trying to breach my deal. All I need is my team and my queen. You my Guinevere. Hey, looky here, hey, hey. Looky here, hey, hey. Guinevere, bae, hey.
This episode of A Very Special Show was made possible by contributions from Oli Arts.
Oli Arts is the South Puget Sound's premier multi-platform arts publication. They are dedicated to highlighting the amazing arts and culture our community creates. They deliver information about performance, music, visual arts, and cultural events around the South Puget Sound via multiple mediums. Oli Arts offers a bi-monthly print edition, daily online content, occasional podcasts, and enhanced mobile experiences. Oli Arts is the guide to local arts and culture, from the drama of locally produced theater to the eclectic beauty of the Procession of the Species and semi-annual Olympia Arts Walk. Oli Arts print edition is hand-delivered by arts aficionados to local theater and concert patrons, while weekly online updates are curated and customized for local interest. For advertisers and community partners, Oli Arts provides unique access to a highly valued demographic of South Puget Sound audiences and readers. Whether you were born here or you're just visiting for the day, Oli Arts is your expert guide to arts and culture. Find free, up-to-date coverage of local events and happenings at oliarts.org.
And we're back with Sir Jalen Charles.
God, I love these tracks. I really love listening to them, especially when I have my headphones on. I got these new cordless headphones and bumping this music in my ears for the last week preparing for this. It's been nice. I've been listening to your music for a while, and something that always comes up in my mind, because I've known you in a different kind of way doing the theater thing, is when you're creating in theater, I can kind of see what's kind of driving you. You're a really great collaborator. You really enjoy being on the stage. You enjoy making people laugh and cry and whatever else. But when you're creating this rap music, what is important to you? Are you communicating a message? Are you connecting with the audience? Or is it just the act of creating itself that's compelling you?
I think it's the act of creating itself, but I think it's also creating in different ways. Like, you're a fan. You know that sometimes with my tracks, sometimes they're more fun, but other times they're more serious. I would say that going from Eating Cereal was more of like a fun song, but it kind of had serious undertones. I take a lot of experience from just like, everyday situations. Like I have a lot of angst about my father's death, so I draw from there as well. Experiences in theater, I'm always dropping like, little witty bars about like, my theater experience and finding my light and things like that, but also about social justice issues. Like as a black man, I'm very sensitive to those. Like a couple of my tracks I referenced like, the Trayvon Martin case. I think that was like a pivotal case for me growing up, because he was my age and he was around my age and I was on my way out of the house. And so like I didn't really feel safe. And so I kind of draw upon those experiences and other social justice issues that like, kind of catch my eye and like touch my heart.
The one that really got me, and because those kinds of things matter to me. I think anybody who has a soul should care when people are murdered for no reason.
Yeah.
But the one that got me was the Eric Garner thing, where he
was
choked and he couldn't breathe. And just watching the video, I just couldn't. I just can't even watch it now or even talk about it without it just completely tearing my soul up. And I just hope that we find a way to fix it, and it just seems like it's getting put on the back burner again a little bit, and I think that that's a mistake, and we're going to regret that. And people like you who I feel like I want to protect, but it's one, not my job to protect you. It's the job of society to fix itself. We need to dig deep into the system and fix it so that we can move on from this crappy ass racism that doesn't belong in modern society and never belonged in the first place. So anyway, moving on from that, moving on from my soapbox.
Well, hold on real quick, but you did protect me and Yelm. I'm gonna give you that when you're like, I don't want you going anywhere by yourself.
I love you, Yelm, but there are some racists out there, and every once in a while when I would bring a black performer out there would be an awkward situation. But shout out to the good people of Yelm, who are wonderful arts creators, and those folks as well. Now, I wanted to come back around because there was a question I skipped over earlier, because I thought there would be a good way to bring this back in, and it seems like this is the right spot to put it. Again, it's not your job to fix the world, but I would love to hear what you would share with a young black creator who's just getting into the arts.
I would say to never sacrifice your integrity. No art is more important than someone trying to put you on a pedestal in a negative light. I think you should be able to create in a space where you feel safe, and if you don't feel safe in that space, feel free to walk away, but never sacrifice your integrity. Like, for example, I will never wear a dress on stage or if I do film in the cinema light. That's something that like people have been doing to black men for years. Now, if it's a show like Kinky Boots, that's Kinky Boots, but that's not my type of show anyway. I don't think me personally would be in that show. But I think wearing a dress is something that I've always noticed that the big comedians had to do for them to reach that upper echelon in their comedic career. And I don't think people should need to sacrifice their integrity just to make white people laugh or look like a buffoon. I think you should be able to create in a safe space that makes sense to you. Yeah, basically that's it.
Okay, we got another song to play. How do you feel about this one?
Showing Up. This seems to be a lot of people's favorite track. I love it. It was one of my first songs that got pretty popular. I show a lot of my versatility with switching up flows and cadences in this song, but I also show my lyrical wittiness And so, and I talk a lot about like, some very important issues that are hold near and dear to my heart. Like the whole Colin Kaepernick not being in the NFL situation. Although I did hear you got picked up by the Jets. So shouts out to the Jets and shouts out to Colin Kaepernick.
Show enough.
Show enough.
Penny reppin' neighborhood, Obies know I'm bulletproof. Mind so sharp, cut a noose. Honky, get a clue. Onomatopoeia fly swooping through. Hear a whoosh, hue, see my hue from the bottom. That's a spruce goose. See you strapping, trapping, rapping, making hits. That's cool, but he's strapped, trapping just like you. Nigga, who's who? Enunciate, you spouting mumbo jumbo. Just grooves, even through the fakes like a nigga's making couscous. Met a girl from ATL, she got the tip like new. You wanna be my girl? You don't know me well. Looney Tunes, damn girl, I got a master plan that ain't involving you. I'm glad you're down for the cause beat my balls. Doper than your plug. Shown up, lovely ladies showing love. Shown up, man, your favorite rapper sucks. Shown up, showing out, fuck shit up. Shown up, man, I'm doper than your plug. Shown up, lovely ladies showing love. Shown up, man, your favorite rapper sucks. Shown up, showing out, fuck shit up. Shown up.
Band of the freeway slam, my nigga. Bloodstained asphalt band, my nigga. All you wanna do is pop bands, my nigga. Singing cream, motherfucker, cream stands, my nigga. All you wanna do is hang clan, my nigga. Lying about the problem as land, my nigga. Even coppers pulling triggers, turning niggas into killers, Colin Kaepernick, man, I can't stand you niggas. 40 acres, then they major, what is gonna try to play us like a dusty Nintendo. Reparations are they made it, they don't wanna see us, man. It's cool, we got a nigga like me on the green now. Guarantee the turn up what we turning out for me. Legalize the green, that's a life of liberty. But for now, strap with the bars, beef, cold cuts, not against the cuz, even the cuz can bleed blood. Doper than your plug. Shown up, lovely ladies showing love. Shown up, man, your favorite rapper sucks. Shown up, showing out, fuck shit up. Shown up, man, I'm doper than your plug. Shown up, lovely ladies showing love. Shown up, man, your favorite rapper sucks. Shown up, showing out, fuck shit up. Shown up.
Am I the meanest? Show enough. Am I the prettiest? Show enough. Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town? Show enough. But who am I? Show enough. Who am I? Show enough. I can't hear you.
I just love it so much. And
One thing about Show Enough is that, like, when I was creating that, I was watching a lot of kung fu movies. So if you guys know Bruce Leroy,
yeah,
Show Enough, that's where that comes
Show
from.
enough. So you appear to be quite comfortable in yourself. You exude a presence of calm and control. It's one of the reasons why I found it really easy to cast you in roles, because you just seem like you have a grasp of the physicality and the sense of how to fill your body up with your personality and fill the stage with your personality.
Thank you.
Do you feel comfortable in your creative body?
I would say most days. Like some days, I was actually talking to my mom about this the other day. Like, I think I'm really good at taking direction, but sometimes if a director doesn't have like an immediate, like, and you've seen this as well. It doesn't have an immediate answer for me, or it doesn't have an immediate direction. It kind of drives me crazy, and I get pretty insecure about it. But I think that's just an actor thing. But I would say I feel more comfortable in the theater light than the rapper light. I feel like theater, since I've like gone to school for it and everything, I know kind of the ins and outs. I have a little bit more of a footing there. As a rapper, and I'm still like, on the up and coming, on the rise. I feel like there's a lot more to prove. So I find myself like, I work hard at both, but I feel like when it comes to rapping, I want a certain outcome to some things, and sometimes I don't always get it, and that's hard. So I frequently go back to the drawing board, but that's just a part of like growing and getting better. So sometimes I get frustrated about it, and I really get in my head, and sometimes I think negatively, but then I'm just like, you know what? Let's take a breather and come back to that when I need to come back to it. But for the most part, I would say I'm confident, but like there are times I'm very much so not confident.
It almost sounds like part of it depends on like who you're collaborating with and and kind of playing off of them. I've watched you on stage quite a few times use the energy of the moment, and you were very good at improvising. We had you in Shrek go out into the audience and actually just engage with the audience at one point, which was your idea, by the way, for anybody who ended up seeing Shrek, which was really great, by the way. It seems like you easily play off of when other people are having a good time, or you use the energy that's available there, and you turn it into confidence. Does that sound like an accurate statement?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at picking up wavelengths and rhythms, and kind of being like, a lot of people tell, so I work with kids as well, and a lot of people say I have a steady handle working with kids, and if you don't know this, kids are terrifying. Like, they're way too smart nowadays, and I don't know how I hold my cool all the time and keep my composure, but I think a lot of that helps with having that footing, because I'm just like, you know what, I've heard everything. These kids are crazy. be honest, but it's I think the cool thing about acting on stage and somewhat with a rapping and whatnot is that I don't think people realize there's a lot of room for error, and those errors may not be errors. They could be very great moments. For example, this isn't my story. This is actually one of my I'll call it like a cordial friend. Like, we talk every now and then, but we don't really hang out. There's a rapper in Seattle named Gifted Gab. Shouts out to Gifted Gab, and she's in a group now called BAG, and they just got signed and they went on tour. And they were rapping this song called Come Correct, and the girl and a friend in the group, Blimes, was rapping and everything, and she slipped and fell. And she got right back up, dusted herself off, and just continued rapping. But a lot of people thought she did a dance move because she kind of went down in a spin. and so when she got up and started rapping, a lot of audience was like, "Oh, that must have been planned." And then she was like, "You know what, guys? I'm not gonna lie, I fell and it hurt." I don't even know how I did that, but there's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of good moments in the errors you can make on stage. There's a lot of room for it, and I think you should kind of embrace it. I think a lot of people, I work with actors who are very kind of rigid and don't like to improv, and they're fine to work with and whatnot, but when things fall out of place sometimes, what I find with those actors and those artists is that sometimes they don't know what to do. And so I love being the person to be able to get people out of that situation. I love it.
Man, I could talk to you all day, but I'm going to let you have last couple minutes here and share your final thoughts about anything you want to be saying to the audience. And we're going to leave off with a final track too, and if you want to talk about that a little bit.
So final thoughts to the audience and everything. So my final thoughts are growing up, a lot of people told me that I couldn't do things. And I think me being in the creative outcome that I am, I've taken those negative thoughts and showed them that I could. And I kind of tricked myself into being the artistic person that I am, creating music, doing theater, doing musicals, writing, and things like that. And people will tell you a lot that you can't do something, but I think it's our jobs to prove them wrong. But don't stop at just proving them wrong. Do better and add your art into a fulfilling artistic world, so people can enjoy your stuff and you can enjoy other people's as well. And don't be a hater. I hate haters. Always appreciate art, even if it's not your favorite thing. Never say you hate it. Listen to it, see why people like it, and learn to appreciate it. But let's move on to 23. 23. I made it when I was 23 years old, and it's a metaphor about Michael Jordan. It's called 23. It's called your Jordan year. It's a metaphor about Michael Jordan, and 23 was I call it my coming of age song, where I was upset about a lot of things going on in the world having to do with social justice issues, and it's my reply to all the bullshit that was going on during the time. So let's bump 23.
All right, I love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
I'm gonna leave it up.
Yeah. Y'all in for some shit. They ain't ready for the shit, man. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm in this bitch, y'all better fear. Sword unsheathed, the king is clear. I don't love you hoes, you get spoiled if you will queer. I can make a killing here, jumping out the gym this year. Watch me kill you niggas like your sneakers, it's my Jordan year. Back once again, back like a king with a pen. Spaz you, I'm massing nothing, it's a function. Back with the map of this rise of a run, we divide where I'm from. Massive attack, mad cause I'm black where I'm at. They see me asthma attack. Watch out, black where I'm at, black with my hat to the back. Snow bunnies will attack, but the daddies hate me. Go ahead, 18, wearing down best springs. I'm away, your daughter's back out. She down here junior, all she wanna do is black out. Kendall Jenner out here trying to say the blacks now. Make everybody see Black Lives Matter now. Stay true, number, we never go out of style. And I bet you won't even walk a fucking mile. Yo, your shoe game just took off this year. You stay fly, see you go, my dear. You stay fly until you die, until that day stay flossing here. That's that jump man off from here. Bleacher creeper, God is near. Watch me kill you niggas like your sneakers. It's my Jordan year. We did a thing, yeah, we are not taking the rain. King Gypsy ain't done a thing. Bang me the pain. No one in shot, bang, 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 bring the pain. Nigga, give me them shoes that ice. Nigga, watch the Concourse take flight. Trigger, Starlight Vigil, they might miss you. Starlight Vigil, but we don't miss. Damn, I'm spitting this shit. Shoot game with the federals. Priority number one in every single variable. Fuck a gun hole, Congress throwing several. They wanna lock us up, now my niggas by the boat. New slaves with a lace for their on the throat. I'll be damned if I die for material. I'll be the damn if I'm on my every single woes. I'll be damned if she gotta lay another rose. Yeah, a young nigga so clever. Always logos over logo, bruh, your brand is whatever. Blood stains on polyester, dog, that shit'll just fester. They wanna kill my niggas anyway. It's whatever. Yeah. In this bitch, y'all better fear. Sword unsheathed, the king is clear. I don't love these hoes, you get spoiled if you a Guinevere. I can make a killing here, jumping out the gym this year. Watch me kill these niggas like they sneakers. It's my Jordan year. Your shoe game just took off this year. You stay fly, see go, my dear. You stay fly until you die, until that day stay flossing here. That's that jump man off from here. Bleacher creeper, God is near. Watch me kill these niggas like they sneakers. It's my Jordan year.
Say my name and I appear. Candyman, your vision's clear. Cool, calm, and collected. Come correct, bitch. I might kill careers. Jumping out the gym this year. Hope my niggas staying clear. I could kill you niggas like your sneakers. Pin game Jordan gear.
Hey guys, this is Sir Jalen Charles. You can find my music on SoundCloud, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, and Amazon Music at Sir Jalen Charles. 3 words. SIRJALEN Charles, as in Charles Wright. All right, thank you guys.
We must find a way to value the time our friends put into creativity. Any time spent creating art is time spent in love. Very rarely do any of us have the opportunity to make a real living doing our art, but we do it anyway. Why? Because art is a way for humans to share their soul. An artist gives their innermost being to another to witness and to cherish. The artist, standing bare and vulnerable, trusts the receiver with their soul. The least we can do is receive their work with as much love as they presented it. So when the world begins to turn again, go to your friend's concert, go to your cousin's play, go to your aunt's choir performance. Go support the creators. Give them your love and make sure they get to keep doing what they love. All you have to do is show up. They'll do the rest. Keep loving and keep creating. Thanks so much to Sir Jalen Charles. Next week's guest, Victor Janusz of the Victor Janusz Band. That episode will air Wednesday, April 22nd at 7 p.m. You can contribute to A Very Special Show. Just go to anchor.fm/A Very Special Show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting. This has been a production of A Very Special Network.